spread all over India and elsewhere seem to be aware that our Bhagavan has done in beautiful Tamil rendered some of the best beautiful works of wonderful works of Adi Shankara and Vedikalottaram and Sarva Jnanottaram and Atma Koda of Shankara. So I thought to use or misuse the presence of various Swamiji, and because I know he readily always accepts all my unusual and unusual requests also so readily and spontaneously to talk to us of these translations of Bhagavan into Tamil. Swamiji, Swami Shantananda ji is today beginning with Adi Shankara. Dakshinamurty Stotra, for which Bhagavan has given an introduction in Tamil, or that which is available in the collected works of Bhagavan, Nool Tirattu, and translated into English by Mr. Osborne, and the collected works of Ramana Maharaj. I humbly request Swamiji to begin with Adi Shankara, Dakshinamurty.
We are taking up Dakshinamurty Stotra, Sri Dakshinamurty Stotra by Shankara Bhagavad. This time we will go into it in great detail because it's a very profound philosophy where not only the ultimate reality has been proved beyond doubt, and the main purpose of the entire Stotra is to prove that the individual jiva, the world, and the Supreme Lord, they are all one and the same. There is only one reality. All the other forms which you are seeing in the form of bodies, in the form of jivas, in the form of animals, in the form of this entire world, it is but an appearance. We call it a superimposition on the self, called Vivartavada. We will not go much into the philosophy or in the details of it, which we will do later on after finishing the rest of the work. Because we wanted to start with something on the Gurus, the Lord, and verily our Bhagavan Ramana was Dakshinamurty himself. So as such, it is right that we begin with this. So, more or less, the simple meaning and the simple significance we are going to cover. Otherwise, there are various, it dispels the various other cults or tenets or philosophies, how it mitigates against the philosophy of the Sankyas, the Vaisheshikas, whose name even you never have known. So why think of things which we do not know and then try to contend against them? So as such we will deal with the simple meaning of it this time. Otherwise there is a beautiful and very expansive commentary by Sureshwaracharya, who was one of the eminent disciples of Shankara. It is called Manasollasa. It is a very expansive commentary, and we will take it up at a much later stage. And what is meant by Sri Dakshinamurty Stotram? Stotram means a hymn of praise. That's all. A hymn where we praise somebody, some Lord. And Dakshinamurty, what does it mean? Dakshinamurty, as we all know, he is one of the aspects of Lord Shiva. We have got it here itself in the shrine. When you go on the left-hand side, there's a beautiful picture where Lord Shiva is sitting with one foot over the other foot, one foot dangling down below. But then what is the significance? The significance is Dakshina and Amurti. These two together has become Dakshinamurti. If it were a Murti, then the grammatical form should have been Dakshinamurti. As it is Dirgha, Dakshinamurti, it is Dakshina plus Amurti. What is meant by Dakshina? Dakshina means the southern direction. Why? What is the significance of the southern direction? The Lord in charge of the southern direction is death. So as such, any normal soul, after its death, it is supposed to go to Samyamanapuri, the place of death, the place of Lord Yama. And from there, he will be sent to the various places where he is due according to the merits he has acquired or according to the sins he has committed. And everybody is afraid of death. That is why, in the south especially, if anybody while sleeping faces the south, the mother will come and say, hey, don't face the south. No, 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 no. Because the very word death, the very word south, connotes something which is unpleasant, which we dare not face. A man may claim to have been happy all through the life, but when the death is near and is imminent, he gets perturbed, he gets agitated. That is the real dukkha. That is the ultimate dukkha. We get so many dukkhas. Janma dukkham, jara dukkham, jaya dukkham punah punaha. Antyakale maha dukkham. That is the greatest of all the sorrows is to die. Even to think of it gives us the shivers. So this is a particular stotra which will give you the courage to face death. Oh, it is nothing. I can face it. And that is why the Lord himself faces the south to tell us, look here, I am facing the south. Don't worry. All of you face the south. Face death. Don't be afraid of it. And that is the ultimate message. How to overcome death. How to face death. And that is why he became southern faced. He faced towards the south. Then secondly, ultimately, the Lord, we have given him a form. Otherwise, we can't straight away catch the formless. The path to the Advaita happens to be through Dvaita. The Guru and Shishya are in Dvaita. The entire world, all the equipments, our sadhanas are all in Dvaita only. We can't be helped. They are the ladders. But really, he is the formless. And Dakshinamurti happens to be the Adi Guru. We always say the Guru Parampara, the tradition of the Guru, has started with Dakshinamurti. The famous shloka with which all the gurus start their lectures is Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam. So we say Sadashiva Samarambham. Sadashiva, the Lord Shiva, who is always Mangala, Sadashiva, the one who always is auspicious. So that Lord Shiva has come in the form of Dakshinamurty. And ultimately, who is Lord Shiva? Who is Dakshinamurti? They are the ultimate reality. They are our Atman. They are ourselves. They are ourselves. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtiye Namaha. He says that all the three are one. There is no difference between Ishvara, the Lord in general, and the Guru and Atman. All the three are one. As Bhagavan has repeatedly told, the Guru is inside you. He is your inner guide, he is your inner controller, so the Guru is always inside you. But then, unless one is a pakvi, one is completely mature enough, one's antenna should be developed enough to catch the vibrations of the inner Guru, which most of us are not equipped with. As such, the Lord in His immense compassion, the Guru who is inside you as your own self, in His immense compassion, He takes the form of an external Guru according to your spiritual constitution. You always get the Guru you deserve. So He takes that particular form which will suit Him, and He reaches Him, and the Jiva becomes His disciple. So here in this, every shloka will end, Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. There is going to be the end of everything, everywhere. So, he says Dakshinamurti himself is that external Guru who has come to dispel the ignorance, the ajnana of the disciple, of the aspirant. So as such, Amurti means formless. The one who has got no form, the ultimate reality, it is an energy. Who has ever seen electricity? Not even perhaps Edison has ever seen electricity. We are seeing only its effects. Similarly, we are seeing the effects of the Lord. Nobody has seen that Lord or that self. He is Amurti. He has no form. But if you were to take it as Murti also in a way, due to your lack of knowledge in English, you read it, Dakshina Murti, even that is okay, because the form of the Lord is the entire Jagat. The entire universe is His form, and that is going to be proved here. The form of the world as you see, it is unreal. The real form behind it is that Brahman, is that ultimate reality, which is all existence and consciousness, Sat and Chit. All these things will be explained in due course. And now we'll start with the first shloka. It contains about 10 shlokas, including the first one. And we'll start with the Mangala Stotra. You see, whenever we start any text, we pray to the Lord in order that our efforts, either in reading the text or in originally when the author was compiling the text or writing it, there may not be any obstacles in the way. So we also are starting so that no obstacles may come. We will do the Mangala. This has been done by Vishwanatha Swami, who is very well known, who was associated with our Bhagavan for quite a long time. So the Mangala Sutra, Yo Dakshinasya Nijamauna Bhavam Prakashya Shantyai Munipungavanam Ahastavismin Akhilatmatancha Sasankaro Bhati Madantarange. He says, I am contemplating on that Lord Shankara. Sa Shankaraha Bhati Madantarange. Antaranga means the inner mind, the inner consciousness. So in my innermost consciousness, I see Lord Shiva. Sa Shankaro Bhati. Bhati means shines. So the Lord Shiva shines in my inner consciousness, in my mind. And who is the Shankara? Which sort of Shankara you are seeing him? I am seeing him in the form of Dakshinamurty. That's what he says. Yo Dakshinasya Nijamauna Bhavam. Dakshinasya means, Asya means the face. So Dakshinasya, the one who is facing the south. So I am seeing that Shankara who is in the form of Dakshinamurti, whose face is facing the south. Then what else he is doing? Nija Mauna Bhavam Prakashya. He is manifesting, he is revealing what all he wants to say by the eloquence of silence. Nija Mauna Bhavam. His own silence, that is, his Swarupa is his silence, that's all. The form of that Lord is silence. What is silence? Silence, somebody has defined it as absolutely having no desires, no attachment or anything to do with any objects of either this world or the other worlds. When you have rejected everything relating to the world, the body is also part of the world. When you have rejected everything, what remains is you. What remains is your own self. So Mauna Bhava is the real form of the self. Nija Mauna Bhavam. So, adopting that pose of silence. Why? What for? Muni Pungavanam Shanti. There were ever so many ascetics like Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, great sages who were assembled and who were asking questions from Dakshinamurti. They came with a number of doubts. The Lord knows, even if we answer those doubts, again hundreds of doubts will again sprout. There is no use. When does all doubts cease? Tasmin drishte paravari. Chidyante sarva samshayaha. When the Granthi Bheda takes place, when the internal knot, they loosen, when you get the final enlightenment, the direct knowledge, that is the only time when all the doubts will cease. Till that time, some doubts or other will be arising. You have to ignore them and go again. If you are to leave off all your spiritual activities till such time as all the doubts are solved, that day will never happen. So you have to go ahead. So when they came, the only method to dispel all the doubts forever was to enlighten them. See, the Lord straight away adopted that sort of silence in which they get that final Shanti. It is not a peace which remains for a minute or two. Shantim Nirvana Paramam. It is a peace which emanates from that ultimate enlightenment, and that is the type of peace. So in order to give enlightenment and the consequential peace, to bestow them on all those sages who are all deserving of it, who are themselves jnanis. But then the last thing which is required to reach the ultimate spot happens to be the grace of the Guru. So as such they have all come to Dakshinamurty. He gives that grace through his silence, which is highly eloquent, which dispels all their doubts once for all, so that they will never more sprout. And what did he do with that mauna? What did he tell them through the silence? Aha, he told, Asmin stave. And what he told is being repeated in this Dakshinamurti Stotra. You see, Dakshinamurti Stotra is not a simple poetry or hymn of praise. This is considered by itself as one of the Prakarana Granthas, that is a contextual text of the Vedanta itself. It contains such a profound philosophy. It completely expounds the relationship between the Jiva, the Jagat and the Lord. Many of us think the Lord is not necessary. But all I want I am getting from the world. I get my food, I get all my entertainments, and what has God to do with it? So that necessity, why the God is required, and what is the relationship, and how to obtain the Lord, everything in a very condensed way, in an encapsulated form, this Dakshinamurti Stotra gives. So she says, Ahastavesmin Akhilatmatancha. This is called the Ekatma Bhava. That is the ultimate state, where you know that we are not different jivas. The entire dukkha has started. We are all miserable because each one is thinking, I am different, and I am different. And naturally that has given rise to various types of relationships, saying, this is my father, this is a neighbor, this is my friend, this is my foe, and the consequential effects resulting in various miseries. This room has got some 7-8 bulbs. There is a 30-watt bulb, 60-watt bulb, 200-watt bulb, and a 1,000-watt bulb. The 0-watt bulb is extremely miserable. Every day when I come into this room, it tells me, Swamiji, I don't know what sort of papa I have done in my previous birth, some sins I should have committed. I am born as a miserable, lowly, this 0-watt bulb, and see the rascal of a 1,000-watt bulb, how brilliantly he is shining. See that even this 200-watt bulb, and they're all so popular, and I am used for a little while, and that too with great contempt. What is the reason for this misery? Supposing you upgrade a 200-watt bulb, is it going to be happy? No. At the most it will temporarily say, thank you Swamiji, I got a good rebirth. But that's not all. The misery is again going to be there. It is going to compare itself with 1,000 watts. It will go on to end. What is the reason for this misery? The reason for this misery is its ajnana, is its ignorance. That's all. It is not aware. It is the same electricity which comes through the same conduit, through the same wire, which goes into 1,000 watts, which goes into 200 watts. So, its original capacity is infinite wattage. But then, due to defects in the receiver sets, or deliberately they have put certain resistance inside the various bulbs, as a result, it absorbs, it does not let out more than 0 watt, or something more than 1,000 watt, more than 200 watt. The limitation is in the container, is in the bulb. The bulb is always limited. Similarly, one may be an engineer, one may be a doctor, one may be a clerk, one may be a sweeper. But then, The energy which is working through all, which makes you think, which makes you act, which makes you function, which activates you, it is one and that one consciousness, that one reality. That is all. So this is called Ekatma Bhava. The day you realize it, that the inner consciousness of all is one, so we are all one. The bulb may be different. It is only one electricity which goes through us all. The difference between that electricity and this electricity which is in us is, this is a conscious electricity. What is consciousness? Consciousness means the capacity to know that I exist and others exist before me. The other inner things, this book doesn't know that it exists. So whenever it doesn't have a consciousness, this being inert, it cannot have compassion, it cannot have kindness, it cannot have friendship, it cannot have amity. On the contrary, consciousness implies all these things. They can exercise compassion, they can exercise kindness. All these are qualities which emanate from being conscious only. All activities emanate from that. So there is only one consciousness which is in all of us. So the day we realize it, that consciousness which you call as self, so the same self which is in me, it is in all. It is in all the beings. It is in the entire world. It is in all. And there is only one consciousness. There is only one self. There cannot be two infinites. If there are several selves, infinite selves, if all of them represent only one self, there can only be one infinite self. There cannot be two infinite selves. So, ahastavesmin akhilatmatancha. So I took a little time because this is going to be the button of the song in this, that the akhilatmata, that ekatmata, unless we realize it, again and again it is told, unless you forget your hatreds, your attachment. Once you know the other one is the same as myself, he is only my own self, then the question of hatred will not arise, the question of ragadvesha will not arise, the question of desires will not arise, that I should get it, because it is nothing apart from you, it is you only, so why should you want it? It is you. And not only that, I may be a pauper, I don't own a car, but it doesn't matter. The day I realize my ekatmata, that I am the same self as exists in all, then Mr. J. part of Shankara's work. Shankara's Dakshinamurty Stotram starts from Vishwam Darpana Dishyaman Nagari, which is the next one. So here I will go through it quickly. Maunau Yaksha Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varshistante Vasadrishiganaihi Avritam Acharyandram Karakalita Chinmudram Anandamurtim Swatmaramam Muditavadanam Dakshinamurtimide Dakshinamurtim Ide. I worship that Dakshinamurti. What are the adjuncts? What type of Dakshinamurti? Maunam Vyaksha Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam. The one, through the eloquence of his silence, through the commentary of his own silence, who has revealed the entire philosophy or the entire truth regarding that ultimate reality known as that Supreme Brahman or the Supreme Being. Through his silence, he has told us the ultimate truth. And who else can do it except Brahman himself? As Dakshinamurti is the Brahman, he is the fittest authority who can authentically tell. See, when a person who has that authority, when he tells, we will all accept it mutely, the conviction automatically comes. So I bow to that Dakshinamurti who has expounded the ultimate truths by the commentary of silence, by the eloquence of silence. And normally we will expect a person who has got so much knowledge, we expect him to be a very old man, a withered old man with a long beard. But no, the Lord Dakshinamurti has taken the form of a young man, Yuvanam. He is a youth, just to show that a person who has been able to overcome death, he is ever a youth. He can never be overcome by jara or old age, not to speak of death. Yuvanam. Varshistante vasadrishikanaihi. You see, it was the time of the Chaturmasya, and it was all the various Maharshis were all there, who are all quite old people. Varshishta, they were all very old people, very old sannyasins were there. You see, the teacher is a very young man, and all the disciples who have come, they're all Varshishtas, they're all very old people. They're all sages, 1,000 years old, 20,000 years old, perhaps, we don't know. Shanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, they were the 4 Manasaputras of Brahma. They are the first creation of Brahma. Brahma, by his own mental sankalpa, by his own thought, he created these 4. And he wanted the creation to go up. So he told them, he entrusted them with his job. Look here, you all go and do tapasya and then get the power to increase the population of the earth. But they refused, because they were all born philosophers. They said, please excuse me, Father, we don't want it, we want to reach back the Lord. We want to reach our own original form. We want to know who we are. So we are not concerned with all these things. So, he was avritam, means he was surrounded. He was surrounded by all those people who are experts, Brahmanishtahi, who are always thinking of the Brahman, who are always engaged in the contemplation of that ultimate supreme being. Then, Acharyendram, he is the Guru of the Guru. He is the ultimate Guru, so we call him Acharyendram. He is the best of the Acharyas who can ever have. You see, any Acharya you will have, he has to be less than that Lord who comes with his full kalas, with his full digits, with all his ability. When he comes in his manifest form, nobody else can be fitter to talk on this subject. So, he is the king of the Acharyas. Karakalita Chinmudram. Lord Dakshinamurti has posed, he is posing with a particular mudra. Mudra means there is a posture of the hand. And there is a particular posture which is called the Jnana Mudra. Even by having it, it will have an effect on everybody. Even when we sit sometimes for meditation, many of us do it, it has got an effect both physically as well as metaphysically. Physically also, if somebody keeps it and sits, they say, it helps in their heart problems. It seems there is something about it in the Charaka Samhita, and one Babu Asharam, who is one of the best of the sannyasi lecturers today, or sadhu lecturers, he often have used to tell about this mudra. This mudra has got a spiritual significance because it represents the Tattvamasi. There is the Mahavakya which gives the identification between the Jiva and the Paramatma. That is the individual soul and the Supreme Being. See, we keep it like that. That is, there is a combination of the thumb as well as this first finger. The first finger is used to point out you, the various jivas. So this rightly represents I, or the jiva. And Angushta, this represents you. Tvam. This Angushta represents the Paramatma. Angushtamatra Purushaha. The Upanishad says the Lord is inside in the form of a thumb as a jyoti, as a light. Angushtamatra Purushaha. The Kutastha remains in that way. So as such, normally, this represents the Lord and this represents you. This is Tat. This represents that reality, that supreme reality. And this represents every jiva, you. So, when these both are joined, this means both are the same, both are identical, ultimately. So, Chinmudram. So, this is called the Chinmudra, the mudra of consciousness. They say it has got a physical effect in that most of us, whatever we do during the day, most of the things we do in an unconscious way. We are not even aware. Awareness is less. But this Chinmudra, when you have, it makes you fully aware. That is why when you sit in the japa, when you keep it, the awareness will increase, the consciousness will increase, so it has got a lot of effect in it, this Chinmudra. Then Ananda Murtim. If the Lord is not Ananda, who is going to be Ananda? The final supreme being is described only in three ways. He is Sat. His nature is, it is, exists, it is. Isness is its one quality. Then the next one is, you are aware that it is. Otherwise, how do you know it exists? So that awareness, that consciousness, that is called Chit. Sat and Chit, they are always intertwined. When something exists, it will not know it exists unless it has that knowledge, it has that consciousness. So these are only two terms for the understanding of an ordinary man, but in the esoteric way, Sat and Chit are considered to be synonyms or identical terms. And automatically, if you remain only in that existence, in that awareness of your existence, I am, then you will get that full bliss, that absolute ananda. And this Lord is in silence. He is only in his Sachit Swarupa, and as such he is full of bliss, Ananda Murti. Then, Swatma Ramam. He doesn't seek his relaxation. He doesn't seek his entertainment elsewhere. If we want to relax, we relax with the Harold Robbins or some book or other. Or if you want to relax, you go for a badminton, you go for a tennis. So you seek your relaxation in outside objects. But the Lord seeks his relaxation in his own self. Swatma Ramam. Because that self is complete. Everything else in the world, all the objectification has been done by this only. He only has become all the objects. This supreme being. So he has got all those things inside. So he doesn't need to seek his relaxation in outside objects. He is Swatma Rama. Always contemplating on the self, because nothing else to do. In other words, what is contemplation? He remains in that awareness. He is a self-awareness. He is aware, that's all. He remains in his final awareness. That is what we have to do. You see, when people say, thinking of the Brahman, there is no use of thinking of Brahman. You have to remain as Brahman. Remain in that consciousness. That is the ultimate thing. Mudita Vadanam Dakshinamurty Mide. And a man, when he is happy, how do we know he is happy? Because his face shows. When a man is unhappy, his face shows. So Mudita Vadanam, his face is full of peace and full of happiness. His face is expressive of his internal happiness, so he is Mudita Vadanam. So that type of Dakshinamurti we are going to worship. Now, we start with the first shloka. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashanatvanimaya Bahirivo Adbhutam Yatha Nidraya Yasatrat Gurudev Prabodha Samaye Swatmanameva Dvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namayidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. The last line is, I bow to that Dakshinamurti who himself is my Guru Murti. He himself has come in the form of a preceptor, so I bow to him. Because Shankara Bhagavad Pada, his Guru was a Govinda Pada. He was another one. But then the Guru Murti Shankara feels is none other than the Dakshinamurti himself who has come in that form. And Guru, Atma and Ishvara, there is no difference between them. All the three are identical. And straight away, in the first three slokas, he gives you an idea of the reality or the unreality of the world and how the world has been created, what is the cause of this world and what is the nature of the world. So all these things are shown in very simple capsule form. So in the first one he says, he starts with the world. Because you are going to him because you feel disturbed. You are feeling miserable. And what is the cause of the entire misery? The cause of the entire misery is this world. It is the world which causes. Somebody has deprived you of some money, so you are miserable because of the child. Or something which you have owned for a long time, well, it has been lost, it is gone. My diamond ring has been lost. So I am feeling miserable, I am feeling unhappiness. So as such, he starts straight away attacking that center of disturbance. The center of disturbance which you think is real, for which you are weeping, because of which you are feeling miserable, and where all these sufferings and hardships are all attributable to this world, which is the main disturbance. And even for those aspirants who are on the spiritual path, the world comes as a disturbance because of its multifarious temptations. And so he attacks it first. And it is done in the form of praise only. He says, I bow to that Guru who is verily the Dakshinamurti. And what does he do? He comes in the form of an individual. He himself has come as a Jiva. And as such, the Jiva sees the world. He says, this world which the Jiva sees is not real. So why are you bothered about an unreal thing? If you see a dream which is unreal, and the dream, if somebody is going to beat you, are you going to have rancor against him, or are you going to have hatred against him the moment you wake up? The moment you wake up, if he comes to meet you, you will meet him with all amity and friendship. Because you know that was unreal, what happened in the dream. So he says, don't believe in this world. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam. The entire world is just like a city which can be seen in a mirror. Supposing there is an image of a city which falls in the mirror, you see with all the gates, with all the rivers flowing, with so many houses, with so many mansions, the entire city is reflected in a mirror. So that reflection in the mirror is not a reality. So in the same way, this world is not a reality. And we will come to, we will just discuss about it. Nijantargatam. He is telling, when you see it in the mirror, it looks as if it is away from the mirror, it is outside it. But actually it is inside it. It is inside the mirror only. Nija antargatam. it has gone inside it. It is based only in the inside of the mirror. Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam. But because of a maya power, mayaya bahiriva udbhutam pashyan. It looks as if it is outside, as if the image has arisen outside you. This is how your jiva looks at the world. But this is the truth of it. He feels he is seeing outside. Now I think all these people are sitting outside. But actually speaking, the entire thing is an imagination, is a dream of the cosmic mind, a dream of the Supreme Being, and consider we are all the dream figures. Then where are we? He is going to explain it better by another analogy. The first analogy he has given is just as you see in a mirror. But then the one point is why he took the mirror. In the mirror, if some dust comes and if you are unable to see, just if you just dust it off, you can see it very well. And not only that, everybody comes to know at some time or other, when he takes his face away from the mirror, that what he saw inside was not the reality. So here what happens is, the one doubt which comes to people is, wherever there is an image, there has to be an original. Unless there is an original, you cannot see the image. So if you say the world is just like an image, then where is the original? In the world, that should be an original world. But it is not so in this case, because the original itself has objectified himself in a different form as the world. It is the subject who has become the object also in this case, and he has become not as one object, but as manifold objects. That will be explained in the next one as to how the one becomes the manifold object. So that is why here you cannot see the original, you are only seeing the image. See, no analogy you can apply, you cannot apply it in all its aspects. If I say that some small young boy, he comes, I say this boy looks like a crow. So it doesn't mean that he has got a beak and his head is all just like a crow's. No, it only means he is a little blackish. That is all it means. So these are all called partial analogies, just for emphasizing a particular aspect only. So the aspect which is here being emphasized is that what you see in this world, it is only just like an image in a mirror, but it is not true, and you are seeing it outside. But then the next analogy makes it clearer. He brings the analogy of your dream, nidraya. In the dreams, whatever you see, they all look as realistic, as much a truth as you and I now sitting and talking. But you know pretty well, and not only that, in the dream, you are seeing as if it is outside it is happening. You don't know that it is happening inside. It is all a concoction, a fabrication of your own mind.